Welcome to the deep dive, where we cut through the noise and get straight to the insights from the baseball diamond. Yesterday was quite a whirlwind, wasn't it?
It really was.
Packed with moments that genuinely shaped narratives, highlighted some, individual brilliance, and frankly kept us all glued to the box scores.
Yeah, nonstop action.
We're not just talking about who won or lost here. We're talking about how those wins and losses came to be, the strategic chess matches, the performances that, well, really stand out.
Mm-hmm.
Our mission today is to unpack every crucial play, every game-changing moment from this memorable day, and pull out those golden nuggets of knowledge you won't get just, glancing at the highlights.
Exactly.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Exactly. And what's fascinating here, I think what truly defined yesterday was just the sheer variety across the league.
Right. Different flavors everywhere.
Yeah. Each matchup offered a distinct lesson. Could be about pitching dominance, maybe offensive adjustments, or sometimes just those razor-thin margins in late-inning strategy.
Mm.
So we're going to navigate through these key contests, try to uncover the strategic why behind the outcomes, and hopefully give you a deeper, more analytical understanding of the day's most impactful moments.
Okay, let's kick things off by looking at the games where pitching and defense weren't just good, they were the absolute stars of the show.
The main characters.
Right. First up, that classic National League East showdown. The Atlanta Braves defeating the Philadelphia Phillies 3-1. Now, we know the Braves lineup. It's a collection of sluggers, right?
Oh, yeah, powerhouse.
Yet they were held to just 3 runs. So what does that tell us about the Phillies starter, Zach Wheeler? And more importantly, how did Atlanta still manage to pull out the win in a game like that?
Well, this game was really a masterclass in resilience from Atlanta. Wheeler, the Phillies starter, he was absolutely
I
dealing.
think he's sharp.
Exceptional command, mixing his pitches looked great. But what's truly insightful here is how Atlanta, even facing Wheeler's dominant stuff, they just didn't panic. Their hitters showed really exceptional plate discipline.
Patience pays off.
It really did. They extended at-bats, forced deep counts, and ultimately by the 6th inning, Wheeler's pitch count was getting up there.
Yeah.
That attrition, it just tired him out enough for Atlanta to scratch across those crucial runs, mostly against the bullpen later on.
And for the Phillies.
For the Phillies, well, this raises an important question. It wasn't just a lack of timely hitting, although that was part of it. It was their collective 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position.
Ouch.
Yeah. That's a recurring vulnerability, something their manager, Rob Thompson, is certainly going to be looking at closely. Bad sign when good pitching gets undone like that.
So it wasn't like a sudden offensive burst from Atlanta, more like a sustained strategic grind. Just wear down the opponent.
Exactly. That's a key takeaway, I think, how even powerhouse offenses can win in different ways. It's not always about the long ball.
Right.
And it also highlights the depth of Atlanta's pitching staff, too. Being able to hold a strong Phillies lineup to just a single run, that gives your offense the breathing room it needs.
Definitely. Okay, let's shift gears from that strategic grind to, well, outright offensive fireworks.
Right.
Here's where it gets really interesting. The New York Mets took down the Detroit Tigers 10-8, an absolute slugfest.
Yeah, that one was wild.
Had fans on the edge of their seats until the very end. The Mets offense explodes for 10 runs, but the Tigers made it incredibly close. Despite the win and all those runs, what vulnerabilities did this kind of high-scoring game expose for the Mets?
Well, this game it vividly illustrated both things for the Mets, right?
Yeah.
Their tremendous offensive upside, which we know they have.
For sure.
But also some significant concerns with their pitching staff. Yes, the bats were alive, Lindor, Alonso driving in runs consistently. But the fact they allowed 8 runs to a Tigers team not generally known for, massive offensive firepower.
Right, that's the eyebrow raiser.
Exactly. It points to issues maybe beyond just one bad outing. Specifically, their bullpen, particularly in those middle innings, seemed to struggle with command.
Oh.
Like Drew Smith in the 7th. Despite his velocity, he hung several sliders. And Detroit hitters, especially Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson, they really capitalized on those mistakes.
So not just an off day, but maybe a pattern.
It felt like it exposed a specific weakness in pitch execution, something opposing teams will definitely note and look to exploit going forward.
And what about the Tigers? I mean, they lost, but putting up 8 runs against the Mets, mounting that significant comeback attempt, that's got to be a morale booster, right?
Oh, absolutely. It demonstrates their fighting spirit, no doubt, and it shows that their young hitters are capable of putting up runs against good teams.
Yeah.
You never gave up, turned what looked like a comfortable Mets lead into a real nail-biter. That kind of resilience, even in a loss, it builds character, builds confidence for the future.
Speaking of unexpected offense, maybe the biggest surprise of the day. The Oakland Athletics shocking the St. Louis Cardinals 11-3.
Wow, yeah, didn't see that coming.
Right. This is a team, Oakland, that historically struggles for consistent run production. 11 runs against a Cardinals pitching staff that's usually pretty solid. That's a huge statement. What clicked for the A's here?
This was definitely the day's biggest offensive surprise. Now, the Cardinals starter, Miles Mikolas, he had an outing he'll want to forget. Really struggled with his command, especially that sinker-slider combo right from the start.
Really? So that helped.
It did. But you got to give credit to Oakland, too. Their approach at the plate was remarkably aggressive and effective. They attacked early in counts, put balls in play hard, and just didn't let up.
Relentless.
Yeah. Guys like Brett Rooker, Shea Langeliers, players who often show flashes. They put together consistent, powerful at-bats throughout the game. It wasn't just luck. It felt like a combination of an off day for the Cards ace and just an uncharacteristically sharp, relentless offensive performance from the A's. So this raises an important question. Can they sustain anything like this? Probably not 11 runs often, but maybe it shows some potential.
Yeah, a glimpse.
And this kind of big win, it offers a rare moment of offensive dominance. It gives their fans a genuine reason to cheer and signals that, hey, on any given day, even a rebuilding team can make some noise.
Huge win for Oakland, no doubt. Now, let's shift back to the Phillies for a second. After that tough 3-1 loss to Atlanta, they bounced back. Philadelphia Phillies 10, Milwaukee Brewers 8.
Yeah, another high-scoring affair.
They bounced back with a serious offensive outburst here, securing a high-scoring victory. Sounds like it was a bit of a wild ride.
Oh, it was. What's fascinating here is the determination you saw from the Phillies. After being stifled earlier, they came out swinging.
Like they had something to prove.
Exactly. Proving their bats can put up runs in bunches, that the Atlanta game wasn't, their true identity offensively. They needed that bounce back.
And the Brewers, 8 runs is usually enough to win.
Usually, yeah. For the Brewers, despite scoring 8, their pitching likely just struggled to contain a hot Phillies lineup. Probably some frustrating moments for their manager, trying to piece together innings when the other team is hitting everything.
Tough one for Milwaukee's pitching staff, then. All right, let's move to the games that really came down to the wire.
The nail-biters. My favorite.
Mine, too. Highlighting the clutch plays, the strategic decisions. First, the Toronto Blue Jays fell to the Cincinnati Reds 5-4.
Close one.
A really tightly contested battle came right down to the wire. The Reds managed to just eke out a victory against a very formidable Blue Jay squad. How did Cincinnati pull that off, especially containing Toronto's offense?
Well, we connect this to the bigger picture. This win is a significant morale booster for the Reds. It shows they can compete with top-tier teams and, crucially, close out these difficult contests.
Oh, how'd they do it?
What we saw here was Cincinnati's bullpen really stepping up. They effectively neutralized Toronto's powerful middle-of-the-order bats in those crucial late-game situations.
Key shutdowns.
Exactly. Alexis Diaz, their closer, showed impressive composure, mixed his fastball, that wipeout slider, stranded runners, basically shut down a potential Jays rally in the ninth. Very clutch. And it was also about timely hitting on their side. The Reds capitalized on a couple of key 2-out hits to push across those winning runs, just executing under pressure when it mattered most. Toronto's offense, potent, yes, but contained just enough.
That's the beauty of baseball, right? One clutch hit, one dominant relief appearance. Game swings.
Precisely.
And speaking of clutch moments, let's talk about that AL Central rivalry game. The Chicago White Sox edging out the Minnesota Twins 6-5.
Always intense between those two.
A thrilling one-run game that just showcased the competitive nature of that division. Looked like a real back-and-forth affair, what ultimately decided it.
Yeah, these rivalry games, they often come down to the smallest margins, and this one was no exception. What's fascinating here is how this kind of game often comes down to maybe a crucial error or a clutch hit or a masterful relief appearance.
Every play matters.
Every single play mattered. This contest perfectly illustrates how critical defensive plays and strategic pitching changes become in the late innings. For the White Sox, there was a crucial diving catch by Luis Robert Jr. in center field.
Oh, yeah, I saw that highlight. Incredible.
Right. Not only saved a run, but really shifted the momentum. You felt it. Offensively, a key walk drawn by Andrew Benintendi loaded the bases, then a sac fly brought in the go-ahead run. Little things.
Textbook execution.
Exactly. It highlights how every single play, Every at-bat, every defensive effort counted. This narrow victory against a division rival, it's always significant for White Sox confidence, especially when they're battling for position.
And the Twins?
The Twins, well, they'll be dissecting those final innings, looking for where they could have turned the tide. Maybe a different pitch selection here, a more aggressive base running decision there. Those what-ifs.
Absolutely. Those are the games that stick with you. And wow, to wrap up this segment of nail-biters, another incredibly dramatic finish, the Atlanta Braves fall to the Chicago Cubs 6-7.
For winning earlier. What a day for Atlanta.
Seriously, the Cubs pulled off an impressive victory against the formidable Braves. This is a huge win for the Cubs, right?
Yeah.
What does it tell us about their ability to compete and close out games under pressure?
This is a massive statement win for the Cubs. A true testament to their resilience and, frankly, their strategic smarts in high-pressure situations.
Even against a top team like Atlanta.
Especially against them.
Yeah.
Now, for a team like the Braves, who'd already played and won earlier, maybe there was a slight fatigue factor.
Possibly.
Possibly. But that doesn't diminish the Cubs' performance one bit. The decisive moment came, bottom of the ninth, Seiya Suzuki with a walk-off single.
Clutch hit.
Huge clutch hit. And it came right after what looked like a critical bullpen decision by the Braves manager. The Cubs capitalized on that strategic pitching change, proving they can make those adjustments and come through when it counts. Yeah, and this raises an important question about bullpen management late in games, doesn't it? Do you stick with a reliever who might be tiring, or do you bring in a fresh arm in that super high leverage spot?
Tough call for managers.
Always. But the Cubs showed they have the clutch hitting and, just as importantly, the mental toughness to take down a top-tier opponent. Big confidence builder for them.
Definitely a signature win for Chicago. Okay, finally, let's briefly touch on a few games where one team seemed to clearly assert dominance, kind of flex their muscles.
Right. The less dramatic ones, perhaps?
Maybe less drama, but still telling. We saw the Cleveland Guardians 4, Boston Red Sox 6. Boston's offense came alive here, putting up 6 runs.
Yeah, what's fascinating here is seeing Boston capitalizing on key moments. They strung together hits when they needed them, reinforcing their offensive capabilities. Looks like the Guardians will need to analyze their pitching approach from that one.
Okay, and how about the Los Angeles Angels 3, Houston Astros 8 matchup?
Ah, the Astros.
The Astros continued their strong form with a pretty convincing victory there. It seems like their potent offense was just too much for the Angels pitching.
Yeah, if we connect this to the bigger picture, this game really highlighted the disparity between those two teams right now. Houston seems to be firing on all cylinders.
Just relentless.
Relentless in their approach. They didn't just hit. They hit for power. Hit in timely situations. Bregman, Kyle Tucker, particularly impactful, driving in multiple runs.
And the Angels couldn't keep up.
The Angels pitching staff, they just struggled to contain that lineup. And offensively, despite having stars like Ohtani, they couldn't generate consistent offense to match Houston. It really underscores Houston's status as a perennial contender, showing their depth, their ability to win comfortably against division rivals.
While the Angels are still trying to find that consistency.
Exactly. Still grappling with finding consistent support around their key players.
Gotcha. And lastly, to round out our deep dive, the San Francisco Giants secured a comfortable 8-2 victory over the Colorado Rockies. Looked like the Giants were in control pretty much throughout.
Yeah, this was a more textbook dominant performance from the Giants.
Yeah.
What's fascinating here is how they controlled the game early and never really let up.
How'd they do it?
Not just with the bats, though they were good, but also with strong pitching that kept the Rockies quiet. Logan Webb, their starter, seemed in excellent form, mixing his sinker, changeup effectively, getting weak contact, ground balls.
Keeps the momentum down.
Exactly. Prevents Colorado from building anything offensively. On offense, the Giants were disciplined, capitalized on their opportunities, consistently driving in runs.
And the Rockies?
The Rockies, well, they unfortunately struggled on both sides. Couldn't generate much offense, couldn't contain San Francisco's bats. It just highlights a need for them to find greater consistency. A clear example of one team executing its game plan really effectively from start to finish.
Right. So, after all that, what does this all mean? Bringing it all together, this deep dive has shown us that yesterday in Major League Baseball truly had it all.
It really covered the spectrum.
From the strategic brilliance, of the Braves methodically wearing down the Phillies, to that high-octane slugfest between the Mets and Tigers that exposed some pitching vulnerabilities. Each game offered its own unique brand of excitement and insight. We saw those gritty, One-run triumphs from the Reds and the White Sox, highlighting just how important clutch plays and disciplined execution are.
Absolutely critical.
We saw the day's biggest surprise from the Oakland Athletics and those thrilling finishes like the Cubs walk-off and the Phillies' offensive comeback.
Great moments.
And we saw the sheer power of the Astros asserting their dominance. These weren't just games about wins and losses. They were about the individual performances that shaped outcomes, the strategic decisions from the dugouts. Sometimes they paid off, sometimes they didn't. And just the sheer unpredictability that way makes baseball the greatest game on earth.
Well said. And the beauty of baseball really lies in those layers, doesn't it? The strategy, the performance, how it all weaves together. So this raises an important question for you, the listener, to think about.
Okay.
How will these specific results, we talked about these individual standout performances, these strategic decisions, how will they fuel future matchups? How might they influence the standings down the road? How do they continue to weave this intricate tapestry of the season?
Good question.
Yeah, I encourage you to consider what unexpected nugget of knowledge from this deep dive. Maybe it was a specific pitch sequence, a tactical adjustment by a manager. Maybe just one clutch play might be the seed for tomorrow's big story on the diamond. There's always something brewing.